The forest, said to have a life of its own, stretched for miles upon miles. The trees were so ancient their roots seemed to intertwine with time itself, their crowns effectively blocking out the moonlight. This forest had no name, for no one dared to name it. It was simply that place, a place to be avoided. Yet at the heart of this darkness lived a troll, an entity as old as the trees themselves and as lonely as one can be when days turn into centuries. He needed no company, for he knew the forest better than anyone. He heard its whispers, saw its changes. He had his refuge, a damp cave hidden in shadow where daylight never reached. But something had begun to change. The first sign was subtle. The birds left the forest. Mornings that were once filled with their songs were now silent. Then the animals stopped appearing. Their tracks in the mud grew stale. And finally, silence fell. Not the usual silence of the woods, but a heavy, oppressive stillness that filled the ears and made the heart race. One night, the troll felt it. Something had arrived. He wasn't sure what it was, but he knew it was close. When he stepped out of his cave, the air felt heavier as if the forest was holding its breath. The sky was red, not with the colors of sunset, but with blood. The troll ventured deeper into the woods, gripping his heavy rusted axe. It had been his companion in countless battles, though it had long rested unused in the shadows of his cave. The forest, once familiar, now felt alien. The trees grew too close together, as if trying to hold him back. Soon, he found what he feared. On a clearing lay the body of a deer. Its neck was pierced, and its blood soaked into the earth. But that wasn't the worst part. Around the body were tracks, small, almost imperceptible, but clearly belonging to something that moved with unnatural grace. The troll knew what this meant. The wandering bards who sometimes passed through the area told tales of a castle in the north. They spoke of a lord whose name was never uttered, of a being that had slumbered for centuries. But the troll knew that such tales always held a kernel of truth. The journey to the castle was long and fraught with challenges. The forest seemed to test his resolve. Muddy paths, rushing streams, and shadowy figures that darted just beyond the edge of his vision. But the troll pressed on. The castle appeared suddenly, as if it had risen from the earth itself. Its towers were as black as coal, and its walls were veiled in a stain of darkness. The gate stood ajar, and beyond it, a deep silence reigned. The troll felt the hairs on the back of his neck rise, but he did not falter. Inside the castle was a labyrinth of shadows. Every step the troll took echoed, as though the stones remembered lives long gone. Paintings hung on the walls, portraits of people with dead eyes and faces twisted in grimaces of pain. But it wasn't these that caught the troll's attention. In the depths of the throne room stood the vampire. His skin was as pale as snow, and his eyes gleamed red. He wore garments from a bygone era, and his hands ended in long, claw-like fingers. "Have you come to destroy me?" he asked, his voice both a whisper and a thunderclap. The troll did not answer. He raised his axe and charged. The vampire moved with unnatural grace, like a shadow dancing in candlelight. The fight was brutal. The troll's blood mixed with the castle's dust, his breath growing heavier with each swing of the axe, but at last he prevailed. When the axe blade pierced the vampire's heart, the world froze for a brief moment. The fiend's body crumbled to dust, and the echo of its final scream filled the castle's walls. Moonlight poured in through shattered windows, bathing the hall in a pale glow. It seemed like it was all over, but the troll knew that nothing was truly over. He lifted his gaze to the portraits hanging on the walls. The faces, once lifeless, now seemed alive. Their eyes, filled with pain and rage, bore into the troll, not with gratitude but with accusation. He understood that the curse binding their souls to this place hadn't been broken, only transferred. The troll left the castle, but the forest, once vibrant with life, felt different. Birds sang, but their songs carried a strange dissonance. The wind rustled the leaves, but its sound resembled the whispers of countless voices. Every step he took seemed to lead him back to the same place, as if the forest refused to let him go. When he finally reached his cave, he felt a fleeting sense of relief. Yet in that brief moment of calm, he noticed something. Shadows on the walls moved, though there was no fire in the cave. They stretched longer, darker, more menacing, and that's when he realized the truth. The castle wasn't the curse itself. It was merely a vessel, a home for the darkness that now had found a new refuge inside him. The fight with the vampire was only the beginning, and now the troll carried the evil that once resided in the castle. He could not return to the forest, which would never be the same again. He could not seek help, because deep down he knew his fate was sealed. Darkness always finds a way, and so the troll sat in the shadows of his cave, staring at the swirling shapes on the walls. He waited, knowing that soon he would become what he had sworn to destroy. He understood now, evil doesn't die. It never dies. It simply changes form.